Welcome to week 4. I just wanted to go over a few things with you because this will be a really foundational week for you as far as understanding where we're headed. I want to compliment you on discussion board. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I've noticed that you've talked a lot about your belief system and you understand how that's going to play into your approach in the classroom and meeting the needs of different learners. You also understand about differentiation and how you have to meet students where they are. I need to talk about the pillars of literacy. They are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. We talked about them at our face-to-face, but I want you to keep thinking about how you're going to tie those 5 pillars of literacy back into everything that we're working on. And then I love how you're challenging each other and yourself within the discussion board conversations and asking those relevant and important questions. Some other things to consider would be like technology. How are we using technology in the classroom? Keep thinking about that and posting your ideas. Parent involvement is a hot topic. It can be very difficult, especially for those reluctant parents. And how are we going to make sure that we can get those parents engaged within our classrooms? It's a struggle. We want to develop as professionals this common language. So you maybe have known all along that we match letters and sounds, but you didn't know what we call that. And by developing this common language, it's easier for us to move forward as we're building on literacy ideas. So continue to develop and use that language. Assignments due for September 19th. Let's talk about those. You have a Primer Emergent Reader Review. I have a short movie describing this on YouTube already. Here's the worksheet that you're going to use to help you if you want. I don't need the worksheet, it's just a framework for you. You're going to be writing a 2-page paper. The directions for this are under content of week 4. Basically, again, you're to go look for these children's books that are either a sight word reader, a rhyming book, a leveled reader, or a phonics reader. Don't forget to cite the books using APA style format that you've used to write your paper in the reference section. You have a spelling activity that's going to be due. We need to talk about that for just a second. Again, the directions for the spelling activity are under content for week 4. In general, here's what you do. You ask your mentor teacher, K1 to teacher, for a piece of writing that maybe a kid has done in the first few weeks of school. You're going to look at it and you're going to try to determine what their reading spelling stage is. Now the VACA text on page 104 has some spelling stages. You can look at those, that's fine, but I want us to develop that common language together and I want us to use this website. So you're going to want to copy this site in on Reading Rockets and it is going to help you identify the stage of spelling development. It's important that you use this site instead. In addition, there's also suggestions for instructional strategies you can use for those kids who can't spell. Now, Reading Rockets stages of spelling development. These are the 5 stages we're going to use. You're going to see there are specific benchmarks. They're very, very clear in this article. What do students do who are in the pre-communicative stage of spelling? There will be specific benchmarks for the semi-phonetic stage. So as you look at these 5 stages, you're going to want to try to figure out of this writing you have of your student, what stage would you say that they're in? Now there's no hard and fast rule. There may be some gray areas. You might see that they're somewhat communicative, but they're more semi-phonetic, and you have to kind of use your judgment in what you think is the best description of the stage they're in. Alright? You'll also be uploading the copy of the writing piece as well, so that I can see that. Alright, I want to do a chapter to glance for VACA chapter 4 because there are some really important things I want you to consider. So dig out that book. You can pause the movie if you need to. I want you to go to page 96. We are looking at the phases of children's development in early reading and writing because it is developmental and I think it's worthwhile to have you visit that so that as you're in the classroom you can be looking for these characteristics. Examples of print, I think they're really, first of all, cute to look at, and it's important for us to understand that kids really want to imitate. Whether you're from the United States, from Saudi Arabia, or from Israel, you want to imitate the print that you see, and that's why it's so important to get good, authentic, excellent pieces of writing in front of kids because they will imitate it. Invented spelling in blogs. It talks about, is it really that important that kids spell things correctly? Well, it's a great question in this day and age with all the texting and chatting and instant messaging that goes on. So read that little section about invented spelling and understanding the language you'll develop with a classroom and learning how to read what they're trying to write. We want to make sure that we're always aligning developmentally appropriate practices for each and every student, and some of us have mentioned it's such a daunting task, it seems so overwhelming, but if you have the right tools in place and you have enough experience, it's something that is easy to accomplish, and it really is helpful for kids. Last, I want to talk about literacy play centers. The Daily 5 is an excellent resource. It's a book that is primarily used for kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers, but I can apply it to the middle school. It just has some basic ideas about how you make a literacy center. And then interesting on 113 how they're using wikis with these young kids. And then Web 2.0. And I just want to make the point that Web 2.0 is different than Web 1.0. 2.0 would be highly interactive. This is not a 2.0 application because you're just sitting and listening. So we want to really stretch how kids are using technology and make it more interactive. Closing thoughts. I have one. As we're reading this week in Chapter 4, I want you just to ponder this. What do you see as the most important element in early literacy? And I just want you to be thinking about what you could see that one thing being. I think there's been some hints about it, but I want to know what your thoughts are. So with that, I hope you have an excellent week. Again, if you have any questions, make sure that you ask me. You've got your Primer Emergent Review. It's a 2-page paper, double-spaced. It's not long. Second, you have your Finding a Spelling stage. Again, those directions in detail are for you under Content. Enjoy that. It's going to be fun. And then reading VACA Chapter 4. Just keep these things in mind about what is important in literacy. And I will be in touch with you. Have a good week.